So Neil Robertson gets us underway. Delighted to welcome back Dominic Dale, who we were watching here just a couple of nights ago. Before we get into this match, Dom, I've got to ask you about yours with Judd Trump, because it was great viewing. And, you know, you're 5-1 down, you suddenly start to really produce it. And then that one moment, that miscue, seemed to be.
Yeah, it wasn't really a miscue. Unfortunately for me, I lost a bit of chalk adherence to the tip, and basically the tip slipped off the cue ball. Unfortunately for me, I use this particularly new brand of chalk that so many players are using now, but you never get kicks with it, and you don't really get bad bounces off the cushion rails. Just the odd miscue here and there is the only sort of compromise, but it's still a big plus for me, this new chalk. It's just an unfortunate happening. Yes, psychologically, I felt that was going to be 5-4, and who knows what could have happened then. But, you know, in due respect, you know, to Judd Trump, really, because, I mean, he made a fantastic 91 clearance from that when he was under a lot of pressure. So, you know, hats off to him for doing that.
Well, it's good to have you back, and this is an interesting one. As I say, of course, Robertson favourite, but we know already from this tournament, you know, you've got to earn it on the table. He must be confident, though. He played so well against Chris Wakelin. And, of course, there have been various upsets. Players, they always say they don't look at where they are in the draw, but most of them do know. And he must be quietly fancying his chances, certainly to have an extended run again this week.
Yes, Neil Robertson in his previous match with Chris Wakelin, he really was rattling in the breaks. Breaks of 135 and 130 began the match to take a 2-0 lead, increased it with a break of 58 in frame number 3. And then to take them into the mid-session interval in the 4th frame, made another break of 135. And then afterwards, you know, made breaks of 50, 89 and 72, the most tremendous scoring from Neil Robertson. And this is what Neil Robertson is capable of. He's such a fantastic cueist, has one of the straightest and most fluent cue actions in the game today. And he's a very, very colourful player to watch. But Judd mentioned in his interview, didn't he, that the table's playing rather heavily. And you need that cloth to be playing beautifully, the cushions to be responsive but consistent in order to make, you know, a barrage of big breaks, as Neil did in his previous match. And if the table is playing slightly heavily, that's going to play into the hands of Li Hang, who's about 2 seconds slower per shot than Neil Robertson, and that could also help him win this match. He doesn't want to get into a potting and break building contest here with Neil Robertson if he's to prevail here.
One.
Li Hang, who turned 30 in October, currently 37 in the world rankings, has been as high as 28. Semi-finalist in the China Championship 3 years ago. That's his best performance in a ranking tournament. And in this UK Championship, he's got to the last 16 twice, including last year. That's the phase that he's looking to get to here this evening.
Two of Neil Robertson's victories over Li Hang came way back in 2013 when Li Hang had only been on the tour about 5 years. But in the other previous meetings of the last sort of 3 years that they've taken place, Li Hang has just got the better of Neil. And a good start here. Could see him contest this match very strongly.
Well, he beat Zhao Xingtong in the last round. He's a very talented young Chinese player. A little bit like almost like the sort of Chinese Jack Lazowski. You can see all the natural talent, but also quite an open player. So if they're not going in, he's handing chances to his opponent.
5.
But this is a chance for Li Hang. Neil Robertson missed the long red.
Yeah, key shot coming up here for Li Hang. The black spot's occupied by the red just to the right of it, as you can see. Now, does he have an angle on the black just to stun that red away from the black spot and towards that right corner? That's a shot he'd like to play. Just depends if he has enough angle on the black. This is a big shot for Li Hang. If this goes right, He could make a very sizable break from here, because just look at the position of the other reds.
Twelve.
Oh dear,
12.
just can't afford those really. Having got himself into what looked like a promising position. Robertson ready to pounce here.
One.
Well, first glance, Dave, I'd suggest that corner pocket is playing slightly on the strict side. I thought that might just wriggle in, but it certainly didn't. And great chance here for Neil.
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned the table. Robertson played his previous match on table 2, a different table to this one. He did play his first round match on this one, but it's been recovered since. But yeah, you look at the centuries, 32 for the season, 1 behind Trump. For his career, 747. So, well, I guess you could say he's flying, Dom.
8.
We're not going to start with this all night, are we, Dave? You should be a newspaper headline writer.
9.
Well, he's very fastidious, isn't he? You know, he takes care, he's focused. That season where he made the 103. He's determined to get to 100. He did it at the Crucible, in fact, against Trump. He sort of curbed some of the wildness that he naturally had, I guess, when he was much younger, become a pretty formidable
16.
all-round player now. And we heard him saying in the interview with Rachel, you know, he's looking now to build his legacy in the sport. It's already pretty formidable, but he has chances in the next few years to rack up even more big titles.
$17.
Yes, Neil's shot time of 22.5 seconds, which it currently is this season, is, for me, slightly on the slow side for him. But I don't think that's because he's slowed down on the shot. I just think he takes a little bit longer to assess the situation of the balls and what shot to play. And of course, you've got to bear in mind with the COVID situation, many players, well, all of us really, are not afforded the opportunity to practice the hours that we normally do. So therefore, you do tend to be a little overly careful, because you're not probably going into tournaments and matches with quite the degree of confidence that you would normally do.
25.
Well, I was interested in his comments about, you know, not minding the atmosphere, because when he played at the Tour Championship here in the summer, which was the first big tournament at the Marshall Arena, he lost to Steve McGuire, and he came off and said
31.
that he found it very difficult to play because it was like a practice session. He didn't get the natural intensity that maybe he needs in big matches. Perhaps he's got over that with experience of just playing event after event here.
32.
I've played Neil Robertson myself probably, must be 8 or 9 times. And I always think if you can just manage to get him thinking a little, play a lot of safety and good tactics against Neil, force him to do the same thing, you can blunt his terrific potting and break building capabilities on occasion, and that's your best way of beating Neil Robertson. But, you know, when you miss a pot along the cushion, it wasn't easy, that the red that Li Hang missed, to allow Neil in for this opportunity, but it's the worst possible start for Li Hang to allow Neil Robertson to make a big break early on in a match.
Yes, I agree. I think it was you and me, Dominic, that commentated on the Mark Selby quarter-final at the World Championship, and first frame was an hour long. Mark Selby won it, and that sort of set the pattern. He did blunt Neil Robertson's naturally attacking game right from the start there, and of course went on to beat him quite comfortably.
45.
But if he gets away from you, then clearly he's a massive handful.
Neil's just slightly awkwardly positioned on this red. He wants to be able to screw back from this red and avoid cannoning the two reds just above it for position on the pink into the same pocket. But he's not sure if he can avoid the cannon on the two reds. So really dug down into the cue ball there and managed it just about.
What he's also a master of, I think, is
52.
the psychology, the mind games. And already, even though it's frame one, he knows this is a chance to hurt Li Hang.
53.
By pouncing on his error. Just while he looks at this, Graham Dott has started with a century against Stuart Bingham. So that's the 101st century of the tournament.
So just this red, high value colour, and another red to follow to leave Li Hang at the snooker's required stage. But this isn't straightforward. Oh, the pace kept it out. I think that surprised Neil.
60.
I think he felt that was accurate enough to stay in, but it didn't.
Yeah, had a go at dropping, and he seemed a bit bemused that it didn't. So 48 in it, still plenty on here.
And Li Hang taking the opportunity to bring the difficult red into play. Well, here is the chance that Li Hang was craving. Didn't want to lose a frame to a big break from Neil Robertson, but he has a chance here to get back into this first frame. Now, can he knock that pink towards that right centre pocket here and pot in this red? Oh, he's missed the red. Was a little thinner than it first appeared to me, but still expected him to knock it in.
One.
So just this blue to left centre and a red to follow to leave Li Hang at the snooker's required stage. Is he on a red? Once the blues respotted.
6. Seven.
Well, I guess it helps when you can pot those. So Li Hang's had a couple of chances. Obviously the big one at the start of the frame. Let Robertson in for the 60. And the Aussie in the end has won the opening frame pretty comfortably.
14.
The winner plays either Anthony McGill or Chen Zifan. Anthony McGill's still looking to, of course, put himself into the Masters. He's going to have to win at least a couple of matches, but he has the chance.
15.
And he had the chance a couple of times there.
20. 21. 28. 29. 36.
There was a lot of talk about Triple Crown events before we started, but Neil Robertson won what for me was the best match of the whole season, that Champion of Champions final
Robertson,
last year against Judd Trump. That was an unbelievable match. That's what he's capable of, producing a really high standard of snooker. He's won the first frame here. He leads 1-0. Welcome back to the Marshall Arena here in Milton Keynes as this Betway UK Snooker Championship continues. Neil Robertson centre stage this evening against Lee Hang. He won the first frame pretty comfortably, helped by a break of 60. As I say, it's sort of the natural order of things has been restored for now today. Judd Trump winning earlier.
Thank you. The second frame.
John Higgins as well, Barry Hawkins. But that's not bound to continue. We've had a lot of upsets over the weekend. I think the good thing here, from the last 16, every match will be on a television table, so we'll see some of these names that we've been talking about actually get their chance to shine on the main tables. People always say Barry Hawkins comes through under the radar. That's just because he's not on TV early on. We literally don't see him. But he's through to the last 16.
Yes, had a very good win over Rob Milkins, one of my practice partners, 6-3 earlier, and Rob's been playing some tremendous snooker in the last couple of weeks, making quite a few centuries and high breaks as well.
In terms of tonight's other matches, Graham Dott made that 1-2-6 break in the first frame against Stuart Bingham. That's live on the Eurosport app. McGill is 1-0 up against Jen Safan. Still the first frame. David Grace, of course, knocked out Ding Junhui against Xiao Kedong.
Very good safety shot that Lee Hang played there, as you can see. He's snookered Neil Robson on all reds. Just try and rest on the 3 reds just around the black spot here, Neil. It's a bit short of pace, I feel, here. Oh, did it just reach that red? I think it did. Perhaps a sign there that the cushions are fairly speedy. Handy for Neil that that's not a touching ball, but I still think Lee Han can play the cue ball into bulk here. Perhaps get the cue ball behind the yellow somewhere. He was very fortunate there to hide the red near the right corner with the brown. Neil would have taken it on had it been available. And now Neil has a problem because of where the black is near that left corner. If he plays a safety shot into bulk, he's going to try and avoid cannoning into it. It won't be easy to avoid. Now will Neil Robertson take the opportunity just to bring a few reds into play here, playing this safety shot. Could play the loose red just to the left of the pack, into the pack of reds and just spread a few more, and that will be more advantageous, I'd feel, for Neil Robertson, who's such a great attacking player. But no, he wants to keep things tight, and I'm a little surprised. It's not his style of play, that. Wasting no time, had the opportunity himself to bring reds into play and get a good cue ball, but again these cushions seem to be rather quick to me. Overplayed that by a good foot and a half.
It's a bit missing off his crown there, isn't there? On the left hand side. Don't know what's happened there. Said last night, I was talking about Sean Murphy, first time in the UK Championship. He played Robertson in the very first qualifying round. Murphy got the win on that day. Who would know that those two 16-year-olds were going to be such great champions, both winners of this title and, of course, the world title as well, the Masters, and many others.
There is a red available here for Neil Robertson into this right-hand corner pocket, but he's just walked around the table to see that in potting it, whether you're cannon into any of the reds around the black spot. So played the thinner red of the two to avoid that cannon, but where's his cue ball going? Oh, these cushions are very lively, and he's found the bulk pocket there. It's unfortunate for Neil, but I think he felt that the cushions, the reaction off them, let him down a little there.
Well, Graham Dott's had another century. That's 2 in 2 frames to lead Stuart Bingham 2-0. Did come out to simply the best. I suppose you've got to back that up, haven't you, if you do that?
They played my walk-on tune when I played Judd the other night, and I've completely forgotten what my walk-on music was. It's been so long since I've been centre stage.
Remind us, Dominic, what it was.
It was a song by LaRue, which I think she came out with in about 2006, called Bulletproof.
A bit modern for you, isn't it, that?
It is. I previously had Mario Lanza, La Donna Mobile, but yeah, I decided to change it. I always liked Dings and Ways, one of his. He used to have Poker Face by Lady Gaga at one time. I used to like that.
The things you learn about Dominic Dale on a Monday evening.
Red was on for Neil, but this time he has an excellent cue ball. And that's so important when the reds are spread far and wide like this, because if you can force a mistake from your opponent, you can win you a frame. As you can see, look at the position of the reds. Problem is, the black spot area is heavily congested, as you can see, so if either player were to pot the black would be immediately tied up, you'd feel, so it doesn't prohibit either player from potentially winning the frame with a mistake here, because all the other colours are in good positions. Lee Hang's in trouble here. Can't see an obvious path back to bulk for him. I wonder if he'll end up having to take this red on, the one that's near the right corner, the one that's close to that side cushion. If he did try and trundle on the cushion into the pocket, it would be the only red I think he could leave. And these are the things you have to weigh up as a player. Do you feel that the safety shot is harder than the pot? Did the best he could there, had to apply a lot of spin to the cue ball to come around the back of those reds by the black spot, and did it, but as you can see, he's left this red for Neil Robertson, which I have to say I fancy him to get. Is he off again? He is, you know.
Foul. Lee Hang 4.
Wow. Well, sometimes all you can do is smile, but you can't believe that. It's happened again. Yeah. How did that happen again? I know John Virgo's been watching our coverage in Spain, so he'll be in his element this evening. Where's the cue ball going? Former UK champion, of course, Dominic, 79.
Yes, unfortunately for he, there was a camera strike and there were no camera operatives, and there wasn't a record of him winning it, unfortunately. What a great shame that is for John.
Well, thankfully we've got all angles covered here, and a terrific long red here from Lee Hang. Of course, getting his hand on the table with the cue ball in the D, but still needed potting.
Tempted immediately to free the black spot area up, but I think the cue ball could be causing the problem, but the pink spot's available. Now does that black pot anywhere? Possibly into the left centre, but don't know if it'll pot into the right corner. So although the reds are beautifully positioned, the colours aren't great. The pink's available, but of course if you were to pot the pink, both pink and black would be completely tied up then. So he'll do well here, Lee Hang, to make a decent break from here.
9.
Yeah, it didn't have the most favourable angles to work with there, but in fact it got too much action on the cue ball, if anything. I'm sure he played for the pink in the left centre there. Now will he play for the pink in the left corner instead now? Very risky. Suppose he could conceivably take the yellow one, but again, very risky, cueing over balls the way he is.
Lee Hang, 9.
Maybe a thin red into this right corner on here for Neil Robertson. It's a natural path back to bolt for the cue ball. Well, caught that far too thinly. Oh, what damage has he done? Tricky red for Neil into the green pocket. Does have one into the top left-hand corner as we look, which could be the one that Neil favours in the end.
One. Five. Six.
In 2013 it was, he won his first UK title, beat Mark Selby in the final. And then, of course, 2015 beat Liang Wenbo, had the maximum.
12.
I think, and people have said it so many times, you must be sick of it, but the surprising thing is he hasn't added to his World Championship haul, having won in 2010. That's his only success at the Crucible so far. Still time, but of course you only get one chance a year. A couple of years ago, he started that tournament sensationally. First 2 rounds looked pretty much the only winner, but
18.
came a cropper against John Higgins in a very tactical quarter-final. Of course, it was Judd Trump that won the title in the end.
19.
The problem is, with the World Championships, from Neil's point of view, there are so many matches to play over such a long duration that to keep scoring the way that we're accustomed to seeing him do is such a big ask for somebody like Neil. And in the tactical side of the game, I think there are a lot of players that are Neil's equal, really, and make things difficult for
26.
him. And you know, in a tournament like the World Championships, you have one bad session that you lose maybe 6-2 or 7-1. It puts you out of the match pretty much.
Well, of course, he got close this season to silverware, got to the English Open final, played very, very nice stuff against Judd
34.
Trump. Arguably the better snooker, really, of the two, but in the decider, he broke
35.
off. Trump made a century to win it 9-8. Fantastic finish. And then, of course, champion of champions, Mark Allen, really turned it on as well to beat him in the final. All played here.
Well, Neil shook his head there. I think that's because he's finished absolutely dead straight on this black. So no angle to work with. Now, does the bottom red of the 4 below the black pot into this right corner? If it does, he can run the cue ball through towards this left corner and leave it on. Might be the only thing he can do. Well, he's decided to play the more difficult blue instead. Shorter pace with the cue ball. Just the line well, but not quite the pace.
40. Neil Robertson, 40.
Yeah, it's a good pot on the blue. Didn't get on a red, so has to settle for a 23-point lead.
As you can see, that turned out to be a very handy kiss on the brown. Neil can't get through to the potting angle with this red, but he may be able to play a partial swerve around the blue to make the potting angle. But he's now sizing up those 2 reds near the black spot for this left corner. They certainly do look to be very close to being a plant. Again, much too thin from Li Hang. And that's a mistake.
It's a big mistake, isn't it? As you say, catching the first red really thin, careering into them all. Robertson already 23 in front.
1.
It's not been maybe as free-flowing as he would like tonight, but chance here to potentially win this second frame. We saw Judd Trump against Liang Wenbo. That wasn't a particularly flowing match either, but he got the job done pretty comfortably.
Eight. Nine.
Has an angle on the blue to get fairly close to those 2 reds near the right side cushion, but seems to be a little averse to using the rest. Left this for much longer range than he needed to, really.
14.
blue puts him 43 in front. He's just checking that. 43 on, so one more red. Should be 2-0. Bit of concern, I think, for Li Hang. There's been quite a bit of safety play, but
20.
you might think that could benefit him. It isn't. It's Neil Robertson winning the frames.
21.
And he can only grow in confidence as a result.
$28. Neil Robertson, 28, and the frame.
Li Hang has seen enough in terms of frame 2. So Neil Robertson in early control here, leading 2-0. Well, wee Dotty on a charge on table 2, 2-0 up against Stuart Bingham with 2 centuries. And looking pretty good in the next frame. The ball's nicely spread, he's 10 in front. Of course, it's 2-0 on table 1. Li Hang just struggled a little bit so far to make anything happen, really. And I guess Neil Robertson has sort of fed off him. Just taken the chances while they've come along.
Yes, that positional error we just saw there was the key shot from Li Hang's point of view. That was his one chance to really establish a sizable lead in that second frame. That man in your picture, Neil Robertson, ended up getting the chance that he needed, and he made more of it to increase his lead to 2-0.
Graham Dott, the breaks he had, 126 and 137. So, you know, they weren't just centuries, they were big breaks. 102 we've had now. The record was set last year, 140. Of course, there's still, what, 6 days left, so I'm sure we'll see plenty more. Perhaps from this man this evening. He's just waiting for Li Hang to return. The other 2 matches, David Grace, the conqueror of Ding. On Saturday, he's 1-0 up on Xiao Qudong. Anthony McGill 1-0 up on Chen Zifan. He needs to beat him and win his next match and hope that Jack Lazowski loses, and then that puts him in with a great chance of getting into the Masters. But of course, if McGill keeps going through the tournament, the money goes up, he has a chance. He was a World Championship semi-finalist, so you wouldn't rule it out. No such worries for Robertson. Of course, he's 3rd in the rankings, so he'll be in the Masters, of course, in January. Did miss out one year, didn't he? Dropped out the top 16 3 years ago. And there was actually a tournament after the UK Scottish Open, which he won, but that was too late. So he didn't actually play that year in the Masters, which is unbelievable, really.
Yeah, it is, isn't it, really? I have to agree with you.
Just associate him with titles and finals and deep runs in tournaments. He's already had a few, as I mentioned, this season. A couple of reverses as well, both to Ben Wollaston, actually, after that Champion of Champions. I think it took a lot out of him. A few days later, playing in the German Masters qualifier, lost to Ben, and then lost to Ben again in the Northern Ireland Open. But so far, in this tournament, he's only lost 1 frame. So he's won 14, lost 1, not bad. And they can't all be centuries. Sometimes you've got a graft. That's what he's done. And Li Hang will be feeling, I've got to get myself involved in this match soon.
Yes, when you play the top players, you really have to put them under pressure. And Li Hang's
Thank
had
you.
opportunities in both of the first 2
Neil
frames,
Robertson to break.
but failed to capitalise from them. That's why Neil Robertson has established his 2-frame lead as he breaks off for frame number 3.
Worth reiterating that the last time they played, Lee Hang won 4-0. That was in the Northern Ireland Open 2 years ago. But as Neil Fold said at the start, that was on a non-televised table, just away from the spotlight. No crowd here, but this is table 1. This is the centre of attention.
Yes, a good point you make, Dave. It's completely different when you play on the match table, particularly when there's an audience in attendance. You really do feel the atmosphere, and you need experience and quite a lot of it before you can acclimatise to that sort of atmosphere and play your best snooker, which you need to do, of course, against the game's elite players. This red that's just next to the pink will pot into this left corner, and Neil's taken it on. Just a bit thick, but no obvious harm done. Ah, cue ball's just about even behind the yellow. Now, can Lee Hang play a safety off the right-hand half of the reds? Just get through the gap there. Again, another problem for Lee Hang. Can't get through to the right half of the reds. And because of those 3 reds in the left-hand side cushion, it's going to be very difficult to get the cue ball back to bulk. Well, that's about as good as he could do. I think Lee Hang will have to play a safety shot here off the red near this right corner. Can't leave it there, because if you were to play a safety shot into bulk from that little trio of reds below the pink, you'd be leaving that red on probably. But again, that's not one of his best. He's caught the yellow and he's left a very straight red on here for Neil Robertson. He'll be just looking to see if he can punch the cue ball through, maybe 6 or 8 inches for the black in the opposite corner. And looking at the position of the reds, I don't think this is particularly risky.
1.
Well, let's see what he can make from this opening. He's got himself in. His ice break tonight is a mere 12 so far.
Six.
This time the colours are in good positions, but the red's not quite so. All a little tied up. But
7.
if he pots the pink, he'll leave himself on a red to the opposite corner, because the pink's just a couple of inches above its spot, as you can see. Needs to get on that black as soon as he can and just cannon the right red of those three above it away from the other two. And then that will begin to open things up for Li Hang here.
13.
I think he's straight enough on the red to the left corner. If he can just run through and leave himself pretty parallel to the black, that should be ideal. Well, he's chosen to play for the pink in the right centre. I'm a little surprised. He may find it difficult here to get onto a red. Making things a little awkward for himself here, I feel.
20.
Oh, did that
21.
pink move? Could have sworn I saw that pink just wobble a little.
Yeah.
28.
Seemed to on the replay, Dom.
Yeah, I was half expecting that to happen, because what happens is as you go through the ball in the act of striking the cue ball, of course the taper of your cue gets wider and wider, and you can easily just
29.
foul the ball very easily there.
Well, the player himself didn't flinch, the referee didn't spot it, so the break continues.
Yeah, actually, Li Hang wouldn't be aware of that, because in the act of striking, he wouldn't actually feel
Yellow ball.
that pink move, because the cue's in motion. You've just struck the cue ball, and it's almost instantaneous, really. That's not something that Lee would have known about.
29.
Well, either way, the break's over anyway on 29, so still yet to make a 30 break this evening.
Yeah, and has he left this red on here for Neil Robertson into the left corner? Can Neil pop this and get around the back of the black and take the cue ball up for a choice of bulk colours? I think he can do. Well, I can only suggest he couldn't quite see enough of the red to pot it there. won't be happy with that one, Neil. Cue ball out of bulk. Left a fairly makeable red to the left corner for Li Hang.
One.
Well, good red from Li Hang, but my goodness, I don't think I'll be playing it that way myself. I'd have played a half stun there, just take the cue ball around the back of the black for the same pocket. The way he played it there made the pot more difficult, I feel. But it just about wriggled in. Now he's got to start taking these chances, Li Hang. He's already 30 points to the good, so doesn't need to do a lot here to win his first frame of the evening.
Eight.
Yeah, just wanted to get on that scoreboard, settle into this match, and would still, of course, have a chance to be level at the interval, which after the way he started didn't look that likely, frankly. But he's a pretty dogged player, isn't he? I mean, at the moment, his average shot time is 33.5 seconds. He's quicker than that over the course of the season. He's about 24.5. Of course, so far tonight, from his perspective, without any big breaks, it's been a lot of scrapping around, which tends to take longer. Didn't play in the World Championship. He was in China. There's a few of the Chinese players didn't come over because of the pandemic, so missed out on the chance to get back to the Crucible and earn big money, and hence, you know, he did slip back in the rankings because players went ahead of him. I think he's better actually than 37th.
That's a better shot from Li Hang. Potting this pink to the right corner. He can just stun the cue ball slightly for a choice of reds into the opposite corner. That's a choice of 3 reds here. The lead increases to 50s. You can see from our sidebar graphic there.
21.
Just another 17 points required from here to leave Neil Robertson at the snooker's required stage in this third frame.
$22.
Wanted to be pretty straight on this red to left centre, just a hole for the pink.
28.
He could have then stunned into the red to the left of the pink and left himself on a nice red to the right corner, but can he hold the cue ball sufficiently here? Had to really fight to do so.
29.
Just about managed it. Can he stun into the red now, just to the left of the pink? A hole for red in the same pocket.
Well, it's certainly not been plain sailing, but the easiest of reds here to get to the snooker's required stage.
$36.
Does have a slightly less than orthodox way of going about things, Li Hang. I thought he'd have played for the pink there in the right centre
42.
to leave an angle to stun into the red that's nearest the pink, and that would have cleared the path for these 2 reds quite nicely into this corner pocket. Pretty sure that's what most of my fellow professionals would have played.
49.
Well, his highest first 2 frames was just 12, so be happy to get his hand on the table here.
50. $57. $58.
Well, there is just enough on for a century.
65.
Need to take the black, of course, with the last red.
Yes, as a player, you never miss a trick in that regard. You'd love to increase your tally of centuries.
Well, he's closing in at
66.
actually on making 100. He's on 93 for his career. So, getting closer and closer. "72 players have made 100 in professional competition.
$73. $75.
Well, you fancy him now.
Yes, and this little effort from Li Hang will go a long way to settling him down, because you don't really settle down in a match until you can win your first frame. You feel you've really begun the match then when you can get that first frame on the
78.
board.
$82. $87.
Well, he may play at a slightly more sedate pace, but he's getting the job done. That's the important thing.
93.
He's made this break. He'll feel much better with this black going in. It's a clearance of 100 exactly from Li Hang to get himself firmly involved in this third round match. Neil Robertson now leads 2-1. So it's 2-1 to Neil Robertson. It was 2-0. Li Hang eventually made 100 clearance. The 103rd century of this UK Championship. And he'll be feeling a lot happier about things with one more frame to come. Before the interval, Robertson just had to sit there and watch the balls go in the pockets.
Thank you. The fourth frame. Li Hang to break.
Some big hitters there in the background, but of course Ronnie's out, Ding's out, and Stuart Bingham's 3-0 down in his match to Graham Dott. So the triple crowners from last season, well, 2 are out and 1's in big trouble.
Well, this long straightish red's on for Neil. But there'll be a little more pressure on it now because he's had to sit out that century from Lee Hang in the last frame, and he's only a frame ahead now.
One.
Fabulous pot from Neil Robertson. I just wonder though if he did deliberately play that cue ball just a few inches below the black spot so that he didn't leave Lee Hang an easy red to start with, should he have missed that one. Not much Neil can do here except pot the black and rather hope to be on his next red. He won't know exactly where this cue ball's going to finish.
Eight. Nine.
Wow, these are set up beautifully, these reds. If he can stun into that little group of reds above the black here, he'll be automatically on a red to the same pocket. And these are certainly
16.
the positions that you do see maximums made from, but Neil won't be thinking about that just yet. Important frame this, 4th frame before the mid-session interval. And Neil Robertson re-established that 2-frame lead.
Yeah, Judd Trump got to 89 in the last frame of his match this afternoon. He said he went for it before he potted the first red, the maximum. Of course, we've had 2 already, Karen Wilson and Stuart Bingham. At the moment set to share the £15,000 prize.
Yes, there's been a 1-4-6 as well by Hussein Vafai.
Yeah, very rare break that.
24.
I think the first priority, though, as you say, is to hit back and win a frame in one visit after Lee Hang stepped his game up in the previous frame. Robertson is very good at doing that. If his opponent starts to come at him, he comes at them even harder.
Robertson, one of several players that have changed cues in recent times. But the one that Neil's playing with tonight, he's had now for a good 2 or 3 seasons. Formerly a 3/4 cue user. This one's very similar in style to the cue that he used
25.
for most of his career. But the reason he changed cues, Neil, his other cue, well, the shaft had rather worn out, basically. The ash became so thin and brittle through years of damp cloth usage, it sort of wore away the shaft a little in the end. So decided to opt for a 1-piece cue instead of a 3/4, and he seems to be playing very well with it, of course. Probably not straight on the straight enough, rather, on the red to the left centre.
32.
So they have to stun up for the blue now, Neil. Well, is he playing for the black? Well, there you go. He's thinking about a maximum
33.
here, because ordinarily he'd stun up for the blue there, I can assure you.
Here we go then. Another attempt at snooker perfection. That's what he achieved in the final in 2015.
Once again,
40.
Dave, I don't think he can play for the black at all this time, surely, unless he screws back off the red to the right of the one. Yeah, he's going to do the right thing this time and play for the blue.
Well, he's earned a cheer from Karen and
41.
Stewart. Stewart won't be aware of it, he's playing, but Karen might be keeping an eye on it. Yeah, this tournament uniquely, of course, it's highest break in the UK Championship. He's not 147, it's 148. Jamie
46.
Burnett in the qualifiers in 2004 with the free ball at the start of the frame. 16 red clearance.
47.
Yes, wasn't particularly well rewarded for that 148 break, I don't believe. I think he was given a cursory £1,500 by the sports governing body for his achievement. And the sort of trophy that you expect to win
52.
in a fairground.
Well, thankfully, times have moved on. I believe Marco Fu had one in practice in Hong Kong just last week. He did that thing players always do. He made the 148 out of the snooker balls on his table. We've had a few 16 red clearances under 147, but we're still waiting for the first televised break above 147.
$53.
Played this with a lot of check side, Neil Robertson. When that cue ball struck that side cushion, it advanced slightly towards the black. Playing it that way makes the pot slightly more difficult. But again, that's a sort of shot, even in Stephen Hendry's era, players would never have played it that way. But this black is very missable. Oh my goodness me, that
Robertson,
only just
63.
feather edged that near jaw, but it was enough to cause the black to not go in. But has he left anything?
One.
Well, this could be a very significant moment now in this match. We're talking about maximums and big breaks. Robertson found trouble, broke down, and Li Hang is nicely in.
Not the best positional shot
6.
from Li Hang, but he can still get black ball position here.
Seven.
Well, there's one slightly awkward red on the left-hand side. The green, of course, on the bulk cushion. But I'm sure he would have felt, as Robertson was racking up the points, that the frame very likely to go to the Australian without him getting this chance.
Where that red is near the left-hand side cushion, I think a lot of players would choose
14.
to pot a red and cannon that red into position from a red, but I think Li Hang needs to pot as many of these loose reds as he can here to get back into the frame.
15.
Still quite a long way behind, as you can see, 38 behind, but maybe he's got an angle on the black if he wishes to punch this black in and bring that difficult red into play, because he'd be on another red into the opposite corner if he did so. I wonder if he's missed a little bit of a trick there. I think he had an angle on the black to bring that tricky red into play.
22. 23.
Well, he's got an angle on the red here to cannon into that tricky
30.
red near the left side cushion. But he'd want to cannon it about 3/4 ball on the top side of it as we look. That would bring the red into play and leave him on the blue. Too thin.
31.
And now he's out of position completely. That wasn't well played by Li Hang. But he's got back in the frame and he can leave a fairly telling snooker here
Pink ball.
for his opponent.
Li Hang, 31. Foul and a miss. Li Hang, 4. Back.
I think Neil Robertson has felt all evening that these cushions are playing slightly on the square side. He's misjudged that one slightly as well. So we'll need to play this with a little bit more right-hand side.
No. Yeah, can you bring it up for me, please, Rob?
Referee Ben Williams in charge of this match. Rather dangerous exponent in the field of martial arts. It's one of his hobbies.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I believe he's a black belt in several of them. I think Neil will be happy with that escape. Okay, the red's on down this left-hand side cushion, but it's far from easy. I think he's left this for Neil Robertson, and he should be able to pop this into the centre pocket, Neil, and take the cue ball around the back of the black for the right corner. Well, he felt he could hold it for the left, and he certainly could. I thought the red was a little thinner than it was, and that's perfect. Got a lovely angle here.
Of course, he doesn't need that green, so that's a key point to make. There it is. 2 balls.
8.
Should be 3-1. It's not been the free-flowing Neil Robertson that we saw in the previous round when he made the 3 centuries against Chris Wakelin. Not yet anyway, but like Judd Trump earlier on, he's good at battling through frames. And he's won this one, barring snookers, so he's going to have the advantage at the
16.
interval.
$18. Neil Robertson, 18.
Well, it's 3 snookers required. Li Hang is going to give it a go. Neil Robertson, I think, was hoping for the concession, go off and have his cup of tea, but not quite there yet. Be satisfied enough with the scoreline, though, assuming it is 3-1. Just Just the 1/2 century from Robertson. That's 60 in frame 1. Of course, Lee Hang had the 100. Well, in fact, Robertson had the 53, of course, in this frame. Well, surely that's it now. And a little nod of the head tells us that Lee Hang has conceded the frame. So it is the twice UK champion, Neil Robertson, who holds the advantage as the players head off to the interval. Is going to need 3 more to reach the last 16 for the 12th time here at the UK Championship. He leads 3-1.
Come down. I don't like that. It did, didn't it? Sure you don't want to play for much.
Thanks, Colin. Yeah, well, we'll see if Robertson can step up his game. Whether he'll need to is another matter, of course. He's leading 3-1. He's played well enough so far, and he needs 3 more for victory.
Okay. Thank you. The 5th frame. Neil Robertson to break.
Neil Robertson then 3-1 up as the match resumes after the interval.
That's an excellent break-off shot from Neil Robertson. He's managed to get that cue ball in behind the yellow on the bulk cushion, which not many players have managed to do. It was acknowledged by Lee Hang, the tap on the table with his cue. This is the only red he can do anything with. He needs to be very careful here to avoid the double kiss. Yeah, he's playing the cue ball into the jaws of this pocket. Don't blame him. But
The one,
so it was dangerous.
sorry, Dom, the one good memory he's got to look back on, though, from beating Robertson in that China Championship, he reached the semis. So, you know, it wasn't just one win. He backed it up with a succession of them. But you can't leave tempters for Robertson. He's such a great potter. He really is.
Well, question is here, does Neil have an angle on this yellow to advance the cue ball down the table towards the reds as we look? Or is he dead straight on the yellow? Yeah, it was slightly the wrong side, but was still able to play the shot very well and leave this red onto the left corner. Interestingly, Neil's average shot time in this match is a good 2 and a bit seconds slower than his average shot time, or his overall average shot time. Oh my goodness me, how did that red not go in?
Neil Robertson, 3.
Well, people will tell you these pockets are buckets, which is nonsense, of course. And the red, as you see, hangs on.
Well, this really did surprise Neil, and it surprised me. Look at that. I can assure you, as a commentator, you're expecting those to go in every time.
1.
Yeah, that China Championship, he beat Robertson 5-4, then he beat Michael White, Matthew Stevens and Mark Williams. Basically, if you were Welsh, you were in for it. And then in the semis, he actually led Luca Brissell 5-4, lost 6-5. Of course, Luca won the tournament. So he got very close to the final, having beaten Robertson in the last 64.
Well, he was a little unlucky there, Lee Hang.
8.
But to be hypercritical, he should have been a lot closer to the black than he was. Had more work to do than was necessary. But he's still on the red to the left centre. And if the pink goes into the opposite corner, it may not be too bad.
Nine.
Oh, that's gone wrong as well. It just shows, doesn't it, when you fall out of position once, it has that sort of snowball effect. You find yourself further and further out of position until you can find one great shot to recover things, and that hasn't happened here.
Brown ball.
It's a shame because from his perspective, it was a perfect chance to make Robertson really think about the red that stayed on the lip of the pocket.
Lee Hang, 9.
He's got to try and put some pressure on if he's going to stand a chance of turning this around. Robertson is a supremely confident player. And you mentioned the average shot times. He's very aware of all that, Dominic. He may even have checked it at the interval. You know, he likes to be around sort of 20, 21 seconds. If he goes into the sort of 24, 25, he's aware of that. And it's something that he always analyses after a match. Just got that, well, that sort of brain.
Played that really well. Didn't have a lot of available to him there in terms of a decent safety. But he's played that very well. Referee Ben Williams having a look to see if Lee Han can see the thin edge of the red just below the cue ball, but I don't think he can. Ooh, sort of plant on there.
It would be better to see it from the pocket, wouldn't it? To see if this is in line or not.
Well, I think this could be made because the two reds are touching. If Neil were to hit the first red to the right as we look, it should push that secondary red to the left.
Well, Jimmy and Neil demonstrated exactly this shot in our studio this afternoon, how to play it.
Yeah, the problem is Neil would probably like to hit this first red towards us as we look on the right hand side, not the left from his perspective, and I don't know if this is going to work full on, is it? He may be trying to make the plant off the jaw. Now, I didn't think that was ever going to work the way he played it. I think Neil should have known that.
Yeah, I mean, he's hitting it almost full ball. Should have watched our demonstration this afternoon.
One.
Well, it's another opening for Lee Han.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very surprised that Neil Robertson didn't see exactly what was likely to happen playing that plant the way he did. Somebody as great a player as he. I mean, he missed it by a good 2 or 3 inches. Wow, where's this cue ball going to finish? He's okay. Problem is he's just pushed the black into a slightly more disadvantageous position there. Can't play for it now, I don't think.
Seven.
Well, the pink spot's occupied, and that could be very handy for Lee Han on this particular occasion, because I think he's going to have to play for the red that's just below the pink into the opposite corner, because he hasn't got the right angle on it. I couldn't regard Lee Han as a natural break builder. He does seem to play himself into slightly more
13.
difficult positions quite early on in breaks.
$14.
In terms of who the winner of the match will play, Anthony McGill is 3-0 up against Chen Zifan, so looking good for the Scotsman, making a bid to get into the Masters. As Lee Han goes into them.
I don't know if he's on a
19.
red here, Lee Han. Well, he could pot that red. It's a fairly easy swerve around the red second in our picture as we look, but the problem is, can he get positioned to a colour? And I don't think he can. Cue ball would end up fairly near this top cushion. I don't think that's any good. But he may still pot the red anyway and play a decent safety.
20.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit unlucky not to land on one going into them, but again, mistakes such as Robertson's, they're only really significant if they're costly. And it's the second time Lee Han's been in this frame, and it's not really come to much.
Yeah, I just think he plays the wrong shot during the course of making a break and just makes things difficult for himself. I know it's only my opinion, but it seems to be borne out by what actually happens.
Lee Hang, 20.
Well, another chance. This long red.
Well, he hit that nearly full ball. I don't think he can believe it. Must have keyed right across that one. And if Neil can pot this red into the right corner, let's have another look at this. Yeah, he's hit that virtually full ball. Tried to bring the cue ball around the angles, probably for the black into the same pocket. But if Neil can pot this, he can remove the red away from the pink.
1.
Oh, he's been lucky there. My goodness.
It's almost though that it's the sort of snooker gods again, isn't it? You know, Lee Hang has butchered that last shot, so of course Robertson's going to land nicely on the black. It's just how it works. They're pretty unforgiving, those snooker gods.
He would like to get rid of the red that's occupying the pink spot. He's got a choice here, can play for the red, as I say, is occupying the pink spot. Or he's got another
8.
red into the left corner. Problem is with that one, the cube will be going away from pink and black.
Nine.
Play for the green. Just needs to stun down a few inches for that red once again. The one that's occupying the pink spot. That's the one he'd like to get out of the way. Decided instead to play for it in the left centre. That's
12.
because it had just a little bit too much angle on the green to stun down for it.
Thirteen.
I'm sure what Neil would like to do is to play for the red into the right corner next. And then play for the pink, get that back onto its spot, because there is a red that will pot into the right corner. The bottom red of that little trio below the pink spot. That's quite handy for Neil. He was straight enough on the blue
18.
to hold the spot, so he can play for blue or pink here.
19.
Pretty sure Neil would have liked to have left an
24.
angle on this red, just to nudge those two reds away from each other and leave them potable. maybe just a bit straight.
25.
But if you can take high value colours with the remaining 3 reds here, Neil, you won't need that awkward yellow.
$31.
Neil's probably worked out that even if he takes 2 reds and 2 blacks, he'd need at least a pink with the red that's near that right centre pocket to leave Lee Hang at the snooker's required stage. He's just weighing up his options here. So the chances are Neil will need that awkward yellow, the one that's nestled against the brown there.
$32.
I think Neil's already worked out his plan of attack here. I think he'll probably leave himself half ball on the red to the right centre to leave himself the opportunity to develop yellow and brown.
38. $39.
Well, if he could take the black off the last red, he'd be 28 in front with 27 on.
Yeah, well spotted, Dave. I'd missed the trick
46.
there myself. I thought that he needed that yellow no matter what happened with the colours that he'd taken with the last 2 reds, but not the case.
Well, you spotted that pink earlier, so
47.
that's fair enough. Yeah, so if the black goes in, then Lee Hang needs a snooker.
Yes, I don't think Neil will care too much about the positional aspect of this shot. Must pot the black. Wow. I'm very surprised he tries to do so much there with the cue ball. What a shot this is. But did he really need to take the risk?
54. Yeah, Robertson, 54.
Well, he's got his man in trouble, a good 54. 28 in front, 27 on. Lee Hang snookered. Just sort of turning the screw, isn't he? And that, well, he got nowhere near the yellow, actually.
Foul. Yeah,
Probably
Robertson,
that
4.
for this frame. 2 snookers needed now, plus he's left a chance for Robertson to pot the yellow. This is very much like the match I commentated on this afternoon. Judd Trump wasn't at his sort of dazzling best, but he just sort of rolled up his sleeves, got a nice lead, and eventually finished off, of course, going for the maximum in the last frame, but just happy to battle through. Sometimes you've got to do that.
2.
Robertson in full control, winning this frame.
Five. Nine. $14.
Clearly the next is a big one for Lee Hang. He's made a century in this match, but he had chances in this frame and it went wrong, you know, pretty quickly both times. If he doesn't win the next one, then the comeback is asking a lot against someone who we know is playing really well in general. Neil Robertson, third in the world rankings, and now 2 frames from the next round, leading 4-1. Ben Williams setting them up for frame 6. Neil Robertson in a very strong position here, leading 4-1. They have resumed on table 2. Graham Dott leads Stuart Bingham 4-0. Of course, Dotty started with 2 centuries. That's live on the Eurosport app all evening. Xiao Guodong 3-1 upon David Grace. Anthony McGill 3-0 upon Chen Zifan. If he comes through, he'll play the winner of this one. At the moment, it's looking like Neil Robertson. Certainly this 6th frame is a big one.
Thank you. 6th frame. Li Hang to break.
Of course, Neil Robertson first played in this tournament 22 years ago. He's only 16. Lost his first couple of matches in the first couple of attempts at the UK Championship. Eventually, 2001, he won a match. First player he beat, Neil Folds. That was the start of it all. And that was a chance straight away. Sort of ball you see him knocking so many times.
Yes, this would have been a lot easier for Neil had the black been available into the opposite corner, but the red that he's missed has just scattered everything far and wide. So one good pot here from Li Hang. As you can see the various long pot successes of the 2 players.
You'd think it'd be the other way around, wouldn't you? But it's another good one from Li Hang. He's not lacked openings, has he? He's had quite a few. It's just a question of, you know, what he can make from them.
Yeah, that was a good pot from Li Hang, wasn't it? But you can see where he put the cue ball there. He'd hidden all the reds by putting that cue ball near that right centre, and he's got good position on the blue here. He'd love to play for the red that's just above the black. That would really free things up for him. I think it's gone wrong. It's a little unlucky. From where he was on the blue, it wasn't easy to get onto his next red because they're all sort of in one another's way. But he took the risk of trying to come past that red and play for that red that I mentioned just next to the black. That would have been so beneficial to Li Hang. But unfortunately, it's gone wrong.
Li Hang, 6.
Yeah, after such a good opening red, and again, the disappointment is that Neil Robertson has handed him the initiative. The long red he missed, and, you know, not much has been made from it.
Burst of applause there, but it's only just safe, as you can see. Neil can see the red near the left corner half ball, but he certainly can't pot it. So in the end, it's a pretty effective safety from Lee Hang. No chance for Neil to get back to baulk with this one, I don't think. Just wonder if there's a red that's possible into this right corner. I don't even think Lee Hang's looked at it, but there is a red to the left of the pink, a little line of 4 that may have been possible into this corner pocket, the right-hand corner. But as I say, Lee Hang didn't even look at that possibility, and he's made a mistake there. Chance of red here for Neil Robertson, the sort of pot that he's so good at. Now, would he take the risk of trying to play for the black into the same pocket? Not much of a gap to take the cue ball through for it. But as you can see, Neil Robertson's long potting tonight hasn't been to his usual high standard. Oh, he was a bit unlucky there. I think he had a bit of a kick which widened the path of the cue ball. I think he may have been on the black had he not had this kick.
Yellow ball.
I'll make a prediction though. I think by the end of the match, his long pot success will be higher than that 30% we saw put on the screen.
Neil Robertson 1.
It's a night for being patient. He's in control, he knows that. It's a matter of waiting for the next opening to come along. Yeah, it's been a long night, I guess, when you're 4-1 down and you've had chances. But need to stay awake, Lee. It's a big frame.
I think he was just thinking to himself how fortunate he was there that the cue ball can on the green, because had it not done so, his cue ball would have been coming down towards the reds at some pace for Neil Robertson. This is looking good.
It's always fascinating when we get the live audiences back. One of the best things about going to watch snooker is you can watch the players in their chairs, how they're reacting to things going on at the table. Some people just sit there poker faced. Other players, you can see they're sort of living every moment. And you don't have to be a body language expert to work out when players are thoroughly frustrated and beleaguered with how the match is going. There was one match years and years ago where the player in the chair was so annoyed at the pace of play, the slow pace of play of their opponent, they started reading a newspaper, which obviously is frowned upon. Well, they're all blocking one another. Meanwhile, Stuart Bingham has pulled one back, so 4-1 to Graham Dott.
Wow, this could be a re-rack very shortly. Unless there is a touching ball.
Touching ball.
I wonder if Neil can try and get that cue ball in off. Be 4 cushions in behind the green possibly here. Just misjudged the line of it. Oh, he looks to have nailed this one again. Lee Han, what a great shot that is. Look at that. And this time, not quite so easy for Neil Robertson just to rest onto a red. There are a few gaps there now, and the black's been slightly developed. So a mistake here from Neil Robertson could be quite costly. If he could land the cue ball in amongst that little trio of reds above the black, could be about the only safe place that Neil could find with any ease, I suppose, here, but it's not easy to get to those 3 reds, and if you were to just misjudge the line of the shot, you'd be guaranteed to leave Lee hanging amongst the balls. So he needs to be very careful here. Oh, this looks a bit wide. He's going to cannon into the black, I feel.
Brown and a miss.
Now,
Lee Han
what
set.
damage has he done there?
Back. Can you just bring that on from there, please?
Once again, referee and marker working in concert. Of course, the other good thing about this, the players can see all this as well, so any disputes can be pretty quickly resolved. Although, of course, it's not the case on the outside tables. There, it's you've got to work it out without the screen.
Yeah.
Rob Spencer, who was refereeing this afternoon, is on the marker's desk this evening.
What? Yeah.
Yes, of course, on Thursday nights we had that problem, didn't we, with the scoring system.
Yes, thanks, Rob.
We had to turn the monitors off, so the opportunity didn't present itself for the referees to take a check of where the balls were positioned. You just had to rely on the players' judgment as well as the referees to get them back in the right place.
Well, at one stage they were using the old snooker club scoreboards, weren't they? Because the whole system seemed to have failed. They eventually got it working again. Turn it on, turn it off again.
Yeah, he's found a good shot here, Neil. I like this shot that he's playing. Unfortunately, it hasn't quite worked out for him. He has left a red on for Lee Hang, but the moment that Lee Hang pots the red, the cue ball will be cannoning into another one. He won't know where the cue ball's going to finish here, I can assure you.
One.
Well, you need to be very brave to take on the pink. It's very missable. Well played.
Yeah, big shot, 4-1 down to one of the tournament favourites.
Just needs this one good positional shot here, Lee Hang, for the pink. Probably into the opposite corner. But injecting a lot of pace into this shot with the rest won't be easy. Makes the red missable. Yeah, it was never easy.
Lee Hang 7.
So can Neil Robertson focus here?
1.
It's been a very scrappy start, lengthy start to this frame.
Six. Seven.
Getting rid of that red that was next to the pink will really help Neil Robertson here. As you can see, the pink will go into quite a few pockets now that that red's been removed, because he can't really do much about the black for a little while.
13. $14.
Could hear an audible exclamation there from Neil Robertson. He felt that cue ball rebounded rather quickly off the side cushion. That's why he's out of position a little. His pink's quite awkward now.
$20. Neil Robertson, 20.
Well, it's just been one of those scrappy frames, hasn't it? And, you know, when you play all that protracted safety, it can sometimes blunt your potting skills, and that's what happened there.
One.
Very important that Li Hang makes the most of this opportunity. 4-2, he's back in the match. 5-1. Well, it's up to Neil Robertson then, isn't it, just to finish things.
$7. $8. $14.
Needs to leave a good angle on the pink here, Li Hang, to play for one of the three reds just above the black.
$15. $21. $22.
Well, if the red that's nearest the pink pots into this left corner, he's okay here. But if it doesn't, he's got work to do. But as you can see in the picture, it's easily available. Good chance now for Li Hang to reduce the deficit to just 2 frames. Won't need
28.
the 2 awkward reds on this top cushion.
$29.
Yeah, I think the only danger for Robertson is that, you know, like I say, his focus starts to go. It's been a very scrappy frame. He may just be better off Li Hang winning it and then getting on with the next one. His average shot time's gone down to 26 seconds, Robertson.
Yes, points I made at the beginning of the match. This is when Neil Robertson, for me, is in danger of becoming
35.
vehigled into a tactical affair which will definitely not suit him. Can't imagine that happening to Judd Trump, can you? During the course of a match, his shot time, or his average shot time, slowing by some, well,
36.
3 or 4 seconds in this case.
Maybe not so bad that the black has gone safe here with the lead he's got. because red and a pink, and it's snooker's required.
$38.
Yes, red and a pink here, be 44 points ahead with just 43 remaining.
$39.
This is when, as a player, you're trying to leave yourself pretty much dead straight on one of these reds. You won't want to play for a colour from one of these reds. You just want to make the pot as easy as possible. Because if Lee Hang, well, he's tried to develop them. I don't know why he did that. If he just drops between those two reds, you wouldn't expect him to fail to just roll one of them in, and then Neil Robertson wouldn't even bother coming back to the table.
45. Lee Hang, 45.
Well, it's only one snooker. Even if Robertson two reds, two pinks, it's one snooker. Well, these pockets not getting any bigger, are they? Little wince from Robertson here.
Yeah, these pockets are very, very tight. I mean, that red didn't even really look at the pocket. And I've seen them go in other tournaments, even at that pace.
The Anthony McGill-Chen Zifan match has reached the interval. McGill leading 3-1. Xiao Guidong 4-1 up against David Gray, still 4-1 to Dot over Bingham.
Frame conceded.
Yeah, well, he'd
Frame.
left the red on, so
Lee Hang.
needing a snooker, he's conceded. It was a long frame that, but Lee Hang battled through it. He's back in contention, now trailing 4-2. So it's 4-2. Neil Robertson's highest break. That 60 he made in the first frame. He did make a 53 as well in the fourth, but not the breaks we saw in the match against Chris Wakelin, where he was in sensational form. It's been difficult against a dogged opponent who's playing quite methodically. They're both around about 26 seconds a shot. And Robertson's still got to get the job done. Got to try and stay focused, keep his concentration. If he gets a chance in this next frame, just try and maybe up the tempo a little bit and dominate more than he has been so far. Because 4-2, you know, things can get tight and suddenly then it becomes a late night. And we've seen plenty of those at the snooker over the years.
Yes, I've got to say, I mean, when I played Judd Trump a couple of nights ago, and Judd was knocking in consecutive centuries, I think he made against me, and or something like that, and you do sit in your chair for quite a long period of time. When you do get a chance, it's not so easy to take, because you haven't had a shot for maybe 10 or 12 minutes, and sometimes, you know, in the case of my match, Judd rolled off consecutive frames, I think 5 of them. You know, and you go such a long time sometimes between shots, and if Judd does break down but plays a really good safety, your next shot, your first shot for 10 or 12 minutes could be a very, very difficult safety. So there's a lot of pressure on you at all times, and your focus and attention and concentration does come and go, there's no doubt about it.
Well, even here, you know, having to sit here, you know, just sort of doing nothing as Lee Hang returns.
Thank you. The 7th frame. Neil Robertson to break.
So 4-2, it was 4-1. Neil Robertson still looking for 2 more to put himself into the last 16 of the UK Snooker Championship. He would at least have a day off tomorrow as this last 32 round is concluded. We've got the likes of Mark Williams, Karen Wilson, Stephen Maguire, Jack Lazowski, all in action tomorrow. Mark Selby as well. Well, it actually did go up after I said it would, but only to 36%. I think it was one red put it up by 6%. The long potting.
One.
Good red there from Neil, but you need a equally good blue to keep the break going.
Six.
Now a good chance for Neil. Being left-handed, this red shouldn't pose too much difficulty. But there aren't really any other loose reds he can play for from the black. So he'll need an angle to go into them with.
7.
And I think Neil will probably use one of the 2 reds above the black to actually cannon into the pack. If he can play 4 ball into the red that's directly above the black, that red will open them up for him. Well, he's played a delicate cannon. I didn't fancy it from there because the black was so thin. It was easy to just skid off it.
14. Neil Robertson, 14.
bit of an ordeal, isn't it, for the Aussie this evening? It's not to say he won't get there, but he's got to, as I say, stay focused, because if his concentration were to start to wander, this could get very sticky.
Missed the red on the way down, but caught it on the way back up. Now this safety shot from Neil should open a few more up. That's the sort of safety shot that I feel Neil should play more often in his matches. Try and take your opponent out of their comfort zone. Okay, on that occasion the cue balls collided with the green, so it's not really a good safety shot, but because he had his hand on the table there, Neil, he had every opportunity to get that cue ball tight on the baulk cushion. Well played that with heavy check side, but misjudged the path of the cue ball. When you play a shot with that much side spin, it becomes a bit of a mini swerve, and judging the shot well is difficult.
One.
Oh, that was a handy kiss. Yeah, I would love to play for one of the two reds near the black spot here. Oh, what's going on here? Did he play that cannon? If he did, it was a tremendous shot.
6.
And if he rolls this red in and cannons into the two reds together, just below the black spot, he could really open things up for himself, but this could easily go wrong. Oh, this is awkward for Neil, particularly being left-handed. This red isn't as straight as he'd like it to be. If he plays a delicate cannon, it could go wrong. Oh, he's okay. Both reds moved out of the way.
7.
So for now he's got 4 reds out in the open, and then all those reds bunched together on the top cushion.
$14. 15.
That's not one of Neil's best positional shots, I'm afraid. I think he's dead straight on this blue. But he's amassing a useful lead in this very important frame for him to go within a frame of victory. 4-3, and this match is anybody's, but 5-2. Neil Robertson will be pretty comfortable.
20. 21.
I'm sure Neil would like to develop those reds,
28.
using the black as his colour to do so, but he may have too much angle on this red to play for the black.
$29. 34.
This has not been his favourite pocket, has it? It's okay though.
35.
And of course he brought a couple more reds out into play. So the blue to lead by, he's doing the maths, blue to lead by 54. Wouldn't need to disturb any more reds with the 2 in the open. As long as he takes, I guess, blacks with them.
Yes, and being left-handed, those 2 reds on the right side of the table from his point of view. There you have it, 54
40.
ahead, 83 still on.
Yeah, I mean, he could take a blue and a black, actually,
41.
and Lee Hang would still need a snooker. Been a big effort, this, after that last frame, which wasn't much fun for Neil Robertson.
48.
Yes, sometimes the matches don't quite go the way that you plan them to go. Sometimes the table can be quite an awkward one to play well on. Sometimes the cloth can be heavy, the cushions can be fast, all kinds of things can make life difficult for you. And it's just been one of those matches for Neil, and that's the type of mistake that you're likely to make.
Well, it's that pocket again. Just didn't take the red. So, 62 in it still, a possible 75 on. Got very close to the snooker. It could make a difference as well. Well, I thought that was in again. I was going to say, with his prowess at long potting, it was a shot to nothing, but the red's not in.
Wow, when you come to the table, 60 odd in arrears, you are likely to take these long reds on that Lee Hang's faced with here. Because you need to get back into the frame. This is your chance to do so. You won't turn these down. Now, does the black pot into the same pocket? I think it does.
Well, he's pushed the blue into a safe position, which doesn't really favour him, being so far behind. It's a consequence of missing the pot. Robertson's a heavy favourite here. But it sort of sums up the match that it wasn't one visit. It's still a bit of a battle just to get the frame on the board.
Yeah, he's definitely playing a little on the heavy side, this cloth. Both players are struggling to hold the cue ball over distance. There's a chance here for Lee Hang to bring some of the difficult reds into play here. They'll be pretty happy with that. This red is on for Neil Robertson into the right corner, but it's not easy. But he may be able to play it as a shot to nothing. He's even looking at the one into the left corner. It's even better from Neil's point of view. Yeah, great pot.
Yeah, and this pink was always there. And if he can pot it, then Lee Hang does need a snooker. So, as I say, it's not been the cleanest of frames, but he has dominated it utterly. And, as I say, this should, you would feel, get him over the line. Well, wouldn't you know it? Nothing is straightforward this evening. Pink back on its spot for the easier red.
Yeah, that would annoy Neil. And if he takes this red on and misses it, there could be still a bit of life left in this frame, because it's just the one snooker that Lee Hang requires currently. And there'd be ample opportunity to play a good snooker should Neil miss this red.
Well, as you can see, it goes in, so that should be that as far as frame 7 is concerned, as he drops a bit of equipment on the floor. But he didn't drop the ball in terms of this frame. Well, there's the rest. It's that wasn't thrown in anger. Just dropped it, I think.
$14. 15.
Well, he kept focused in the frame, which is important. And I'm sure he will focus now for one more. Try and get this match won. Looking to reach the last 16 of this UK Championship for the 12th time.
22.
Surely has done enough
22.
to win this frame. Little nod of the head from Lee Hang. So Neil Robertson then moves to within one frame of the last 16. He leads 5-2. So can Neil Robertson finish this off? He's 5-2 up. Needs one more for victory. The other match, by the way, is getting closer on table 2. It was 4-0 to Graham Dott. It's 4-2 now. Bingham in front in frame 7. Anthony McGill leads Chen Sifan 4-1. Zhao Guodong leads David Grace 4-2.
Thank you, the 8th frame. Lee Hang to break.
point of no return now, Lee Hang. He knows one more mistake from him could be his last. So he needs to play his A game to try and get back into this match. But that's a good break-off shot from him.
Graham Dott has now gone 5-2 against Bingham, so looked like a big 7th frame there just to establish a bit of distance. When you were 5-1 down, Dom, to Trump, you really went for it and you seemed to sort of find a second wind.
Yeah, I tried to play it like that all match long, really, but I missed a yellow with a rest, I think, in frame number 2, when I had at the time Judd Trump under pressure. And he made a century break from that mistake, and it was a different match after that because of it. And yeah, it's all very well playing the way I did, you know, in those 3 frames from 5-1 down, but it's a little bit after the Lord Mayor show from my point of view. I needed to do that earlier on. I mean, had I managed to recover the deficit to 5-4, there'd have been pressure on me then, and I might have faltered.
Well, got the double kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be very disappointed, Lee Han, particularly if that red that's next to the black pots into the left corner. If it doesn't, he may have got away with it. Looks on, doesn't it? But he'll be down playing it, I'm sure, by now, had it been available. So I'll be playing the red into the pack of reds here, the loose red, and just bring a few into play. But then again, you'd be leaving that red that's near Neil's hand as a possible option for Lee Hang. So I'm sure that's a shot Neil would like to do, like to play. He'd like to open these reds up just to put pressure on Lee Hang. But he's played a good shot there, Neil Robertson. I think he has hidden the pack of reds. So no easy shot here for Lee Hang. for Lee Hang, but it hasn't finished too badly in the end. Oh, this is another good one from Neil, though. Now maybe a chance for Neil just to play a thick safety off the pack of reds, just to bring a few more into play. If you can get a good cue ball, it would put pressure on Lee Hang. Don't know if this red's on into the right corner. Well, maybe it is. Yeah. Chance. Oh, but a long way off. Wow, he put all his eggs in one basket there, Lee Hang. Took the red on, played for the black. Probably in the knowledge that that red was the only one he was likely to leave. And fortunately for him, it didn't wriggle off the jaws and cannon into other balls and develop them. Neil's looking to play a rather negative shot here. I think he's just a bit concerned about the red near the left corner.
Leave that, please, Rob. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's the end of that. Good to start again. And Neil Robertson, it seems, he's going to take a little break while Ben Williams sets the balls up again. So while he does that, we can drop in on table two. As I say, Graham Dott was 4-0 up at the interval against Stuart Bingham. It went 4-2. Dott was ahead in the next. Sorry, Bingham was ahead in the next, but Dott has won it. So he leads 5-2. And, of course, this is live on the Eurosport app, but we'll just watch it until Neil Robertson returns for the re-rack frame. So Graham Dott looking to put himself into the last 16. I know he's been talking about the sort of toll it's taken, keep on coming down from Scotland, 7-hour drives. You can't really come with another player, share the driving, because, you know, if they test positive, you're out the tournament as well. So it's been a bit of a test of stamina, but of course he's got the incentive of a possible Masters place with a long run. Came in 21st today in the provisional standings. There's a lot of players who are ahead of him still in the tournament, but there's that outside chance, and he's the sort of player you could see having a great run here. Got to the semis in 2006, the year he won the World Championship.
Yeah, he's one of these players, Graham Dott, doesn't fear anybody that he plays. He seems to be right on it mentally going into every match. He's a very tough opponent to try and get the better of. Never gives in.
Yeah, great campaigner. I don't think he enjoys necessarily the shorter form tournaments, the shorter matches, but, you know, we're up to best of 11s here. And he's got Bingham where he wants him at the moment. Stuart Bingham, is he going to be the last of last season's Triple Crown winners to depart? All their pictures are up in the hall. Ronnie, he's out. Ding, he's out. Stuart Bingham, the Masters champ, could be about to join them.
Yes, Graham's right in amongst the balls here. This is an excellent opportunity to close out this match 6-2, and what a great win that would be. With the former world champion Stuart Bingham, multiple ranking event winner.
It looked a tough match to call, didn't it? You know, they're quite evenly matched. Obviously, Bingham, at the moment, the higher-ranked player, but he wouldn't have taken Graham Dott for granted, far from it. They had that match at the Crucible when he was 8-1 up and just about won 10-9. He lost a frame on the 3 misrule. It was all happening as Graham Dott came back at him.
Just landed a bit straight here. Graham on the blue, but I wouldn't mind betting he'll play for the red that's in bulk next, because he can leave a good angle on a bulk colour to either play into that little group of reds or play for the loose one that's just detached from them.
So that's live on the Eurosport app. Graham Dott looking to complete victory. Neil Robertson trying to do the same here. Frame 8's been re-racked, so we start again. Robertson leading 5-2. So the players decided that frame 8 was going nowhere. They've re-racked. Here we go again. Li Hang still trailing 5-2 as he breaks off.
Good break off it was in the end, although it'll displease him that he's tied the black up with that break off shot, Li Hang, and that certainly won't please Neil Robertson either, such a great attacking force within the sport. Oh, this is a mistake. Will he get away with it?
Foul and miss. Li Hang 4.
This red will cut into the left corner.
One.
Did very well there, Li Hang, to get position on the blue and avoid the bulk colours. He's played for the red that's just above the black, and he's played this to perfection, I feel. He's about 3/4 ball on the red, so in potting it, he can stun into the red just to the left of the black, knock that one out the way. And he should leave himself in perfect position on the black.
Seven.
I wonder if he'll take the cue ball into the pack of reds here, because he'll expect to be on the red that's close to the black there. Yeah, I didn't think he would play that, Li Hang. It's not the sort of shot that he does play, but certainly players like Judd Trump and Ronnie O'Sullivan would, I'm
14.
sure.
15. $22. 23.
Good play for the red. That's just detached from the pack of reds at the bottom there into this left corner. I'd suggest going into the reds from this particular position. I don't think it'd work out for him. play for a choice of 2 reds instead into this right-hand corner. Nothing wrong with that.
30. $31.
As you can see, he's dead straight on the black, but he can still play for the other of those 2 reds that were together for the opposite corner. And in turn, in potting this, we'll open another red up to the left of it
38.
for the left corner. But he does seem to be one of these players, Lee Hang, that likes to pot the available loose reds before taking the risk of a cannon into the pack of reds, which of course can always go wrong.
$39.
Yeah, it's a bit sort of old school way of going about things, isn't it?
Give me a second, please, Lee.
Ben Williams asking for a moment to put the pink as close to its spot as it can go. Can't touch the red, has to go as close as it can to it though, in line with the spots. It's been confirmed that Olivier Martial will referee the final. Of course, he's back refereeing his first event
45.
since lockdown began in Belgium, where he works as a nurse. So it's a big moment for him and thoroughly deserved.
$46.
Now, I don't think there are any loose reds that Lee Hang can play on here, so he may have to go into them. They're not a great pack of reds to go into from the black. He'll need to play this with a little bit of pace, I feel. That's what he did do. It could have finished better for him, but at least he's got a choice of reds to either centre.
53.
Yeah, this next shot could be a key one because, of course, he's opened the reds now. So if he were to slip up, they're there for Neil Robertson. If he gets it, surely it's 5-3.
Oh,
Lee Hang.
Yeah, it didn't look,
53.
did it, like it was online. So, as I say, he's opened the reds. Is it going to be costly? He leads by 57. There's plenty still on. The red didn't dip at the last minute.
One.
and this is where the great champions really come to the fore. They spot these opportunities. I'm sure that mistake from Lee Hang has really focused the mind of Neil Robertson. I'm sure he sprang out of his chair when he saw the missed red.
Six.
And the red that Lee Hang missed, I do think will still roll into that left centre pocket. So there's only really one slightly awkward red for Neil Robertson on that left-hand side cushion, but being left-handed, it'll be less a problem to him than most. Like to have been straight on this next red, however.
Seven.
handy for Neil if
14.
the red that's near the pink spot goes past the other one to the left centre. It obviously does.
15.
So I do believe the pink will pot into this left corner, and if Neil can pot the pink, it will free up the red just above it. Once again, not quite right on this blue. Too much angle on it this time.
$20.
And this is where, if you're in Lee Hang's position, you do begin to fear the worst. You know that Neil Robertson's
21.
concentration will be absolutely as good as it can be, because he knows this is a chance for frame and match right here.
Yeah, he must feel, OK, one last push. Get this match out of the way. On another day, Lee Hang pots that red to the middle. He wins the frame in one visit, and we go into the next one.
28.
He's walking around rather gingerly to see if he's on this blue. He's got the red out. Doesn't look like the blue goes.
Yeah, I don't think he needed to play the cannon, but chose to because he had so much angle on this red. It was just an easier shot to play to get position on the blue by using that red as a stopper.
It's a terrific shot.
$44. Correction, 34.
It's been a long day for everyone, including the referee. He's just corrected the score.
That was a superb pink from Neil Robertson.
35.
It really was. But he's just slightly misjudged the pace of the cue ball there and the line, unless he felt it was a fast bounce. But he's still on the blue. But he may have to play on the red that's just below the black next. Well, I don't really fancy him for this red. I ordinarily would, but this right-hand corner pocket is so tight along this top cushion, and he can't just roll it in dead weight. This is a very tough red.
It really is. From what we've seen, missed to this pocket. But look at that. That is quality. That is quality. He's just sort of come alive, hasn't he? Sensing blood in this match.
Can he reach across and still get to this red without having to use the rest? Just.
Well, this is brilliant, and he's now got them exactly where he wants them to complete this clearance. Lee Hang, he went into the reds. He was on one to the left middle. It didn't drop. It looks like it's cost him the match. And if Neil Robertson does clear up here, then what a great way to send himself
54.
into the next round.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. These great champions just spot
56.
those key moments. And I'm sure Neil thought when he came to the table, this was his chance. His focus and concentration
59.
have increased.
Well, there's been a couple of little moments where, you know, it could have gone wrong. That pink, of course, the red across the top cushion. But this is how good Neil Robertson is. And it's why, of course, he's a
63.
major threat in this year's UK Championship. He needs blue and pink.
68.
Well, it's been hard going for much of the night, but this is a quality finish from the Australian.
74.
He sensed blood and he pounced. And he got it one with a
81.
wonderful clearance of 81. So Neil Robertson, UK champion in 2013 and 2015, is safely into the last 16 in 2020. He's beaten Li Hang by 6 frames to 2.